welcome to 100 Yards of Football. Our NFL game of the week starts NFL teams, New Orleans Saints and Los Angeles Rams. Welcome our hosts, Vincent Turner and Robert Stewart.
Good evening today as we're going to break down these two teams. The Rams are 8-0 on the season. The New Orleans Saints are 7-1. And we can arguably say they're the two best teams in the NFL. So let's get this party started as we're going to break down the game. And we're going to start with Mr. Robert Stewart. Mr. Stewart, you weren't here last week when your Saints had that very impressive win over Minnesota. I want to give you a hand clap.
No doubt.
So let's get it started. How are the Saints going to beat the Rams on Sunday?
Well, what we're going to do is revert back to that game against Minnesota last week. We won it very unconventional, considered how the Saints normally win a game with Drew Brees throwing for 300-400 yards. Drew Brees only threw for like 130, 140 yards. But our defense pulled it out for us last week, and that's the big thing. We got turnovers. Anytime we can get turnovers, we got a very good chance of winning that game. And also on the road, the defensive line did their job. Marcus Davenport, our first-round draft pick, he's really starting to come into his own. You know, Cameron Jordan stayed in the backfield the entire time. Sheldon Rankins had a sack as well. And we also, Eli Apple looks like he's going to fit in fine. We traded for Eli Apple the week before the Minnesota game, knowing that we needed some help in the defensive backfield. Me, personally, I would have loved to have gotten Patrick Peterson, but we didn't have the draft picks available to get Patrick Peterson. But one thing that goes overlooked about our New Orleans Saints is we are first in the league, or top 5 in the league, in stopping the run. So that means we're stout up front on defense. And also we got, if not the best offensive line in football, one of the best offensive lines in football. Teron Armstead at left tackle is rated as the number 2 left tackle in the league. And Ryan Ramczyk at right tackle is rated as the number 1 right tackle in the league. Also with Max Unger heading away at center. And we also got Andrews Pete at guard. So that the offensive line is stout. We got 2 good running backs coming out the backfield. So any old school football fan will tell you the way you win a game is in the trenches. And on both sides of the ball, on defense, we're stopping the run, and on offense, we got a very stout offensive line. I think we have a great chance of beating the Rams, especially at home.
There's some good points you brought up. Y'all playing in the Superdome. I'm going to tend to disagree. I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams simply because you talk about your offensive line. Your offensive line is good, but y'all going up against the best of the best. I don't have to say about the young man out of Nebraska by way of Detroit in mind, Mr. Sue. Looked like he played real well last week. What about the young man out of the University of Pittsburgh, Aaron Donald? Can we say arguably right now, hands down, he's the best defensive tackle in the game? 6 sacks over the last 3 weeks. He's going to be really tough for y'all to handle in the trenches. Then they got Michael Brockers out of LSU, who a lot of people don't talk about. Defensive end, very steady, very consistent football player. Then they brought over Dante Flower in the trade. So now you got 4 quality, former number 1 D lineman that was taking an NFL draft that's going to be going up against, you said, your potent offensive line. I haven't even mentioned the secondary. Marcus Peters last week had some pros with Devontae Adams, but then also, too, he showed some real grub and stub last week. Then again, my man, Mr. Aqib Talib. I'm not saying that's for Michael Thomas, your outstanding wide receiver, but I'm just saying the Rams are a very balanced team. A lot of people don't talk about their defense, but their defense is one of the tops in the league. Now let me get to the potatoes and meat, offense. Granted, y'all very high, number 1, number 2 against the run defense, Mr. Todd Gurley, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's going to probably be used on a lot of, I'm going to say, matchup against some of your linebackers, Mr. Choyo. The other gentleman, I can't think his name, DeMarco Davis, who had a great game last week against Minnesota. But this is the key that I think the Rams are going to come away with a victory. They got the best offensive young man in all of pro football right now. The guys out of here locally, Metro Atlanta area, Marist High School, Sean McVay. He's that dude. I'm sorry Sean Payton was that 4 years ago, but Mr. McVay has shown you in 2 years the Rams are nearly averaging over 30 points. And I don't have to say about their receiving core. Brandon Cooks averaging almost 18 yards for reception. My man Robert Woods, he's back home, played at USC, looking like the guy that was at USC back in his days. Cooper Kupp has kind of been quiet these last few weeks. He's injured, but he must be coming back this week. But most of all, Eric Dickerson's nephew, you didn't even know that, Josh Reynolds, has been hot over the last few weeks. And then you got the young blonde kid out of the University of Cal, Jared Goff, throwing the ball. I'm going to say this. It's going to be a close game, but based on Mr. McVay being the offensive mind and don't let nobody going to slow that Rams offensive down. Granted, y'all good against the run defense, but let me tell you something. Y'all still got leaks in the secondary. Marcus Lattimore hadn't been the Lattimore if he was last year. So that being said, I'm taking the Rams in a close game, 35-33. Your final words, Mr. Robert Stewart.
I wouldn't pick any team in a shootout in New Orleans against Drew Brees. You threw a lot of names out there, especially on defense.
They got the best D tackle in the game, Aaron Donald.
No doubt.
And you're going to have to block him.
No doubt.
Okay.
But you named Ndamukong Suh hadn't been anything since they gave him that big contract in Miami.
I didn't know. I watched him last week against Green Bay, and I said,
Green Bay should have won that game, right or wrong.
But they should have won that game right or wrong. But we don't go right or wrong in the NFL. We go victories. They got a victory, and they still undefeated. They 8-0.
Well, let's do this. Green Bay was able to go up and down the field against that defense. Their secondary has leaks, has as many leaks as the Saints secondary. In fact, I would take our secondary over the Rams secondary right now, because you said it yourself. Marcus Peters got burnt all day yesterday. Sunday against Green Bay. And our offense is by leaps and bounds more balanced and better than Green Bay. Only thing we need on offense is we need Traquan. Oh, yeah, by leaps and bounds. Michael Thomas, top 3 wide receiver in the league. Would you agree with me?
Devontae Adams, where would you put him at?
Not top 3.
Okay, but I'm saying he putting up top 3 numbers, but we're not going to get into all that. Let's get into your saying, are they going to beat the Rams on Sunday?
But of course, our offense, like I said, is much more potent than the Green Bay offense, and we will be in the Superdome, and Drew Brees is still Drew Brees. He still has more 5,000 yards than any quarterback in history. And back 3 times where he's got 5, nobody else has more than 1. So we are still dealing with arguably top 5 best quarterback of all time in his hometown with a stud like Michael Thomas, with Mark Ingram, with Alvin Kamara that can catch the ball out the backfield and a young Traquan Smith who's a deep threat that you have to watch him, the rookie Traquan Smith. And if Cameron Meredith can get healthy all the way, which he's been working himself back, which we got from Chicago, I think we go put some on these boys. And they're not going to score 34 points in the Superdome. I just don't believe it, the way that defense is starting to come up.
If you liked the video today, share it and comment on it. As me and Robert Stewart, Vincent Turner, myself, and Mr. Robert Stewart broke down the New Orleans Saints and Los Angeles Rams game, NFL game of the week. And my final word, know that.
Later.